seem to choose the games they just played. Others say pandemic's number one. Will it ever change? Dice Tower People's Choice Top 100 Games.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vassell. Welcome to the Florida Keys, where we are talking about the greatest top 100 board games of all time. Authoritatively, nothing else makes it up. Well, according to you, 2,000 of you voted on these. Now, this is one list of best games. This is not the only list, and I should mention that. I often talk about BoardGameGeek.com. We get a lot of information from there. They have a definitive ranking list there. That list does not change like our top 100 does, but it shows you games that are fantastic, and it's going to give you a different picture of the gaming world than we do. And other reviewers and other people do top 100 lists. I did my own top 100, which has a lot of crossover with the People's Choice, but there are games that you guys picked. There's two we're going to talk about today that didn't make my top 100, but that's fine. There's just a lot going on, lots of resources out there. Check them out and learn about these fantastic games. So with that being said, let's get started today with number 20. This has been on the list for 6 years. It started at number 3, and that is Power Grid. Power Grid, which just came out with a card game. I'm curious if the card game will show up on the list. If the card game will affect the board games rankings, who knows? But Power Grid, a game about powering cities and using resources, a fairly heavy game with auctions. You wouldn't think that so many people would like this. The cover itself doesn't even look that exciting, and yet it works. It's on my top 100 list. It's on yours. We got it. Okay, number 19 is Scythe. Now, Scythe was on the People's Choice last year. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but it's finally been released this year, and everyone's super excited about it. One of the most hyped Kickstarter games, if not the most hyped Kickstarter game of all time, from Jamey Stegmaier. It came and mostly met people's expectations. I mean, it is number 19 here. So the game has come out. People enjoyed it. A game about Russians, kind of a Russian dystopian alternate past, I guess, where there's steampunk mixed with people riding bears, which is pretty cool. It's a really neat game, great components, a very solid Euro game, really. Almost a little bit like Kemet, but not quite. Just check it out if you've never played it. I'm sure you've heard of it by now. Number 18. Guys, come on. 17 behind me, Cosmic Encounter. I'm still pretty happy, though, that a game that came out almost 40 years ago is still this high on the list. It's not there's no Call the New going on here, just that many of you have seen the light, seen how wonderful Cosmic Encounter is. A space game, a negotiation game, plays to 6 players, 7, 8 players, if you get all the expansions. Every convention I go to, I usually play this at least once somewhere along the line. I look forward to trying it out. I'm going to a convention in a couple weeks, I'll probably play it there. And hopefully with some of you, because this game is really that good. All right, in my opinion. Number 17 is Viticulture. This is the second year. Last year it showed up at 47. Another Stonemaier game. Viticulture is a worker placement game that has just, frankly, the first time I played it I thought it was good, but each time, successive time I play it, and especially with the Tuscany expansion, it gets better and better. Now you might be confused as to which Viticulture you should get, because there's Viticulture, and then there's Tuscany, then there's Viticulture the Essential expansion, and Tuscany the Essential. There's a whole lot of different things out there. Get any of them, because Viticulture is really that good, although Tuscany really makes it better. Okay, where are we after Viticulture? Number 16. It's a Small World after all. 6 years on the list. 12, 8, 8, 9, 8, and now 16. And probably the only reason it's in 16 is because they haven't released an expansion for a year, except a couple weeks ago they released another one, so maybe we'll go back up to 8. Small World is a war game. It's not a war game, but it is kind of. It's a light powers versus other people game. It scales exceedingly well. It has gorgeous artwork. It's easy to learn and yet has lots of replayability. There's several expansions that add a lot of fun to it. Definitely check it out. Small World. Number 15, 5th year on the list, is the Castles of Burgundy. And this is actually, well, it's not the highest. In 2014 it hit number 14, but still pretty high. Now for me, this one is falling a little bit, right? I don't like this game as much as I used to because I think the board game looks boring, but there's no denying it's an actually really good game. And if you do like it, check out the card game, because the card game does the board game, I think, in a faster period of time. But anyway, in this game, there's dice. You're using those dice to get resources, and then using those resources to get tiles, and then putting those tiles you're using dice to get tiles, and then using more dice to move those tiles onto your board, and then how you place them on your board will score in different ways. It is solidly done. It is one of Feld's best games. Can't argue that. Castles of Burgundy. Number 14, third year in the list, and I'm going to make a call that it's still going to be on the list in 3 more years, and that's Splendor. Now, last year it went up to number 5. Yeah, that's because everyone was playing Splendor last year, and their brother was playing Splendor, and they were playing another game of Splendor at the same time. Splendor is just one of those easy games to play. It's a lot of fun. Highly recommend it. It's simple. There's just these big poker chips. You're using those to get different cards, and then you use those cards. Very easy game, Splendor. Number 13, been on the list for 6 years, an amazing game, Carcassonne. Placing tiles out, building cities, building farmlands, just so much involved with this game, and yet, I mean, how many expansions are there? Like 20 expansions at this point in time, and the game has, I think, 16 different spin-offs, but they all work together, they all go well. A great game, Carcassonne. All right, now we have a new game to the list. This is the 3rd highest new game that's made the list, and that is Seven Wonders Duel. I haven't seen Seven Wonders yet. It might be coming later. Seven Wonders Duel, this is a pretty impressive thing. It's not just because it's a 2-player version of Seven Wonders, but there's more to it than that. Seven Wonders Duel is like, it's like Seven Wonders, but it took it and made it playable for 2 players and then added this neat drafting system where the cards were on top of each other that we haven't seen in a game before. Also, alternate ways to win, seemingly lots of strategy. I haven't even played the expansion yet. Just the base game itself made the game get on this list. With the expansion, I'm calling it might even make top 10 next year. And then the last one for today has been on the list for 5 years, and that is Lords of Waterdeep. Lords of Waterdeep is a D&D theme in a Euro game, which sounded like a disaster. It was not. It is one of the easiest, best worker placement games that exists. There's an expansion for it. I think I guess they're still printing it. I wish that the designers, they made a few other D&D board games. We just saw one come out this year, that the Battle for the Lords of Underdark or whatever. But Lords of Waterdeep is still one of the best games. You might hate D&D. You should certainly check this one out. All right, top 10. 10 more games to go. You probably can figure out what those 10 are. 2 new games made the top 10 list this year. Fantastic, wonderful games. We'll talk about them. But until next time, I'm Tom Basso, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching. To see the rest of the top 100 lists, check out our website at Dicetower.com, where you can also find The Dice Tower, the premier podcast about board games. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching
Dice Tower, People's Choice Top 100 Games.